The French government is dealing with some serious instability as parliamentarians are likely to vote out their prime minister later today. Earlier, that was the scene earlier this week. Prime Minister Barnier using his executive powers to push through a controversial budget, sparking, well, you could hear it, outrage among opposition parties. MPs have now vowed to vote on the future of Barnier's leadership, but chances of him keeping his job, well, those aren't looking so great. If passed, the newly formed government will fall and the Prime Minister will be forced to resign after only 2.5 months in the position. For more on the implications, let's bring in Paul Cohen. He's Associate History Professor at the University of Toronto. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning. It's great to be with you.
We showed a little bit of the reaction, but can you walk us through how France got to this point?
Sure. After France's President Emmanuel Macron called surprise elections last summer, no political group won a clear majority, though the alliance of left-wing parties that came in first in those elections would have been the natural group to form a government. Macron preferred to name a prime minister, Michel Barnier, from the right in order to form a government that was drawn from Macron's own center-right party and the right. This government's political foundations were therefore fragile from the very beginning, and few observers expected it to last very long. This week's vote on the Social Security budget, which encompasses France's medical insurance system, its pension scheme, and unemployment and disability insurance, has triggered the current crisis. More broadly, this is the logical consequence of the political strategy that Macron has been playing from the very beginning when he first launched his very first presidential bid in 2017, shrink the political space available to the center-right and right, and count on the left's political responsibility to vote for him to prevent the far-right from coming to power. If this gave Macron a solid base for power in 2017, with each successive election, his unpopularity has grown and his base has shrunk. He is now trapped between an embittered and electorally strong left and a powerful far right. In short, this is a crisis of his own making.
What happens if the Prime Minister does get voted out? And remind us, why was this budget so controversial?
The budget was controversial for very kind of straightforward traditional reasons. It entailed kind of a move to impose austerity on social spending, to seize the indexation of pensions, for example, on cost of living adjustments, and to preserve tax breaks on employers. And so these were red lines for the left. This is why the left didn't vote in support of the budget. This is kind of a classic left-wing support for a more generous welfare state, and Barnier putting in place a more kind of business-friendly cut welfare state benefit policies on the right. This then, it's not so much that the budget was controversial, it's that Barnier sought to govern, sought to push a very austerity-marked budget, given that he has very little political space within which to maneuver. What will happen if Barnier is unseated today under the Constitution of the French Republic? If he loses the confidence vote today, Barnier would be required to present his resignation, and it would fall on the president, Macron, to name a new prime minister charged with forming a new government. The most urgent task would be to vote a budget law for 2025. French law envisages a crisis scenario a bit like this one. It allows Parliament, for example, if it can't come up with a budget law, to simply renew the previous year's budget law on a temporary basis, pending a corrected budget law down the road. And worst comes to worst, the Constitution also offers the president substantial emergency powers. So it's possible that Macron could simply make provision for the budget himself on a temporary basis. And these are the likeliest scenarios.
And as always, markets do not like political instability. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Lots happening in French politics today. Paul Cohen, Associate History Professor at the University of Toronto. Thanks for joining us this morning. Great to talk to you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.